There's something happening inside your brain right now. And the scary part, you probably did it this morning without even thinking. Here's what makes this different from every other brain health video you've seen. We're not talking about extreme diets or pulling all-nighters, or anything you already know is bad for you. We're talking about things that feel completely normal, things that are recommended, even celebrated in modern life. Scientists have spent the last decade mapping exactly how everyday behaviors reshape the brain's physical structure. And the results are genuinely surprising, because the habits doing the most damage aren't the obvious ones. A research team at University College London tracked 10,000 adults over 25 years, monitoring their daily routines alongside brain scans. What they found changed how neuroscientists think about cognitive decline. It wasn't the dramatic lifestyle choices that predicted brain aging. It was the small, repeated, invisible ones. By the end of this video, you'll look at 5 completely ordinary habits differently, not because they're catastrophic, but because understanding them gives you a real advantage. Let's start with the one almost nobody suspects. Most people reach for their phone within 60 seconds of waking up. In the United States alone, a 2023 survey found that 89% of adults check their phone before getting out of bed. It feels harmless, even productive, just catching up, staying informed. But here's what's actually happening in your brain during those first minutes. When you wake up, your brain doesn't immediately switch into its alert, rational state. For roughly the first 20 to 30 minutes after waking, your brain operates in what neuroscientists call the hypnopompic state, a transitional zone between sleep and full wakefulness. During this window, your brain produces theta waves, the same slow brainwave patterns seen in deep meditation and in children under age 7. This matters because theta states are when the brain is most open to new information, most plastic, most impressionable. It's not a weakness. It's actually one of your brain's most powerful learning windows. Now here's the problem. When you open Instagram or the news during that window, you're flooding a highly impressionable brain with fragmented, emotionally charged information, notifications, outrage, comparison, dopamine spikes, all before your prefrontal cortex, the rational decision-making center, has fully come online. A 2023 study published in the Journal of Experimental Psychology found something striking. Participants who checked social media within 5 minutes of waking showed a 34% reduction in sustained attention scores throughout the rest of the day. Not just in the morning, all day. The brain essentially learned to expect constant stimulation and became less capable of tolerating tasks that require patience or focus. Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist at Stanford, calls this front-loading cortisol. Your stress response system activates the moment you see something that demands a reaction. And when this happens before your nervous system has properly calibrated for the day, it sets a dysregulated baseline that can persist for hours. The fix is uncomfortable but simple. Keep your phone outside the bedroom, or at minimum, commit to a 20-minute phone-free window after waking. Use that theta window for something that serves you. A few minutes of silence, light, movement, or even just lying still. Your brain will spend the rest of the day thanking you. Lunch at your desk, dinner with Netflix, breakfast while scrolling. This is now the default for a significant portion of adults in developed countries. A survey by the American Dietetic Association found that 62% of adults regularly eat at least one meal per day in front of a screen. The brain pays a price in 2 distinct and well-documented ways. First, there's what researchers call divided attentional processing. Your brain has a finite amount of processing bandwidth at any given moment. When you eat while watching a screen, your visual cortex and auditory cortex are heavily engaged with the content. This directly competes with the insula, a brain region responsible for interoception, meaning your body's ability to sense internal signals like taste, fullness, and satisfaction. A 2022 study from the University of Bristol demonstrated this precisely. Participants who ate lunch while watching a 20-minute video consumed 30% more food at a subsequent snack session an hour later compared to those who ate without screens. The reason wasn't hunger. It was impaired memory encoding. The brain formed weaker memories of having eaten, so satiety signals were blunted. The second effect is subtler but arguably more significant long-term. Meals used to be one of the few reliable periods of mental downtime built into the human day. Eating without stimulation activates the brain's default mode network, the system responsible for consolidating memories, processing emotions, generating creative insight, and making sense of complex experiences. Neuroscientist Marcus Rachel, who first mapped the default mode network at Washington University, found that this system requires genuine idle time to function properly. When every spare moment is filled with content, including mealtimes, the default mode network is chronically underactivated. Over months and years, this shows up as reduced creative thinking, diminished emotional processing, and a subtle but measurable decline in self-awareness. The fix doesn't require perfection. Start with one screen-free meal per day. Even 15 minutes of eating in silence or simple conversation gives your default mode network the idle time it needs. You probably don't think of yourself as dehydrated. You drink water, coffee, maybe some juice throughout the day. But large-scale research consistently tells a different story. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition, sampling over 3,000 adults across multiple countries, found that approximately 75% of the population walks around in a persistent state of mild dehydration, not severe enough to feel desperately thirsty, but enough to meaningfully impair brain function. Here's why this matters more than most people realize. Your brain is approximately 73% water by weight. It is the most water-dependent organ in the body, and it's also one of the most sensitive to even minor fluid imbalances. Neuroscientist Dr. Caroline Edmonds at the University of East London conducted a series of controlled studies measuring cognitive performance at different hydration levels, at just 1% fluid loss below optimal, which is below the threshold of feeling thirsty. Short-term memory declined by up to 23%. Reaction times slowed measurably, and participants reported significantly more negative mood states, including anxiety and fatigue. And here's the part that surprises most people. Thirst is a late signal. By the time your brain registers thirst and sends that signal, you've already crossed into the cognitive impairment zone. Your body's thirst mechanism was designed to prevent dehydration, not to keep your prefrontal cortex running at optimal capacity. Caffeine makes this worse. Coffee and tea are mild diuretics, meaning they increase fluid loss. If your first beverage of the day is coffee, you're beginning an already mildly dehydrated brain with a substance that pulls more fluid out. The practical intervention is straightforward. Drink 500 milliliters of water before your first coffee. Keep a water bottle visible on your desk. Research on environmental cues consistently shows that visibility drives consumption. Your brain runs on water. Treat it like the precision instrument it is. A significant number of people genuinely cannot fall asleep without background noise. A survey by the National Sleep Foundation found that 36% of adults in the US sleep with the television on, and a growing number use podcasts or audiobooks as sleep aids. It feels harmless, even comforting, but your brain doesn't actually go offline when you sleep. And this is the critical misunderstanding. During sleep, your brain cycles through several stages, including deep, slow-wave sleep and REM sleep. Both are essential for different types of memory consolidation, emotional regulation, and crucially, a recently discovered process called glymphatic clearance. The glymphatic system is essentially your brain's waste disposal mechanism. It becomes roughly 60% more active during sleep, flushing out metabolic byproducts that accumulate during waking hours, including beta amyloid proteins that have been linked to cognitive decline. Your auditory cortex, however, never fully deactivates during sleep. A 2021 study published in the journal Sleep, conducted at the University of Liège in Belgium, demonstrated that even during deep sleep stages, the brain continues to process and categorize speech and language. Participants who slept with speech audio playing showed significantly disrupted slow-wave sleep architecture compared to those in silence. Their glymphatic clearance was measurably reduced. Over time, chronic sleep disruption from background noise doesn't just leave you tired. It fragments the nightly brain maintenance cycle that your cognition depends on. If silence feels impossible to sleep in, white noise or nature sounds are genuinely different from speech. The brain doesn't process them as language, so they don't trigger the same auditory cortex activity. A simple white noise machine or app gives you the comfort of background sound without the neurological cost. This one is counterintuitive, and it might be the most important habit on this list. Every idle moment is now filled. Waiting rooms have phones, commutes have podcasts, workouts have YouTube. Even standing in a line has become an occasion to open an app. We have effectively eliminated boredom from daily life, and neuroscience is increasingly clear that this is a significant problem. Boredom is not a bug in human cognition, it's a feature. Specifically, boredom is the brain's signal that it's ready to shift into a different mode of processing. The default mode network, the same system we discussed in the context of mealtimes. Dr. Mary Helen Imordino Yang, a neuroscientist at the University of Southern California, has spent over a decade studying what happens in the brain during unstructured downtime. Her research shows that the default mode network is where the brain does some of its most sophisticated work. It's where you integrate past experiences with future planning, where you construct your sense of self, where empathy is generated, where creative connections are made between seemingly unrelated ideas. In a 2012 study, Imordino Yang found that adolescents who had no regular unstructured downtime showed significantly lower scores on measures of creativity, self-awareness, and the ability to understand other people's perspectives. A separate line of research from the University of Central Lancashire found something equally striking. Participants assigned to perform a boring task before a creative challenge outperformed those who went directly to the challenge. Boredom had primed their default mode network, unlocking a level of generative thinking they couldn't access otherwise. Jonathan Schooler, a cognitive psychologist at the University of California, Santa Barbara, describes this as the incubation effect. Background mental processing during idle states solves problems that focused attention cannot. Some of your best ideas will come in the shower, on a walk, or staring out a window. Not because those environments are special, but because they allow your brain to stop consuming and start synthesizing. You don't need more input. You need more empty space. Start with 5 minutes. Put the phone down. Let yourself be bored. Your brain will do exactly what it was built to do. 5 habits, all completely normal, all quietly reshaping the way your brain works. The morning phone scroll that fragments your attention for the entire day. The screen-assisted meal that weakens your memory and creativity. The mild dehydration that's been dulling your cognition without you noticing. The background noise that's disrupting your brain's nightly maintenance. And the disappearance of boredom that's quietly starving your most sophisticated thinking. The good news: every single one of these is reversible. The brain is plastic at any age. Start with just one this week. Pick the habit that felt most familiar when you heard it, because that's almost certainly the one doing the most work on yours. If this changed how you see your daily routine, subscribe. We go deeper every week.